the greatest friend of the South Carolina Republican Party, United States Senator Jeff DeMint.
Wow. You know how to make a tired warrior feel good again. I thank you. That is an injection of energy to come home, because frankly, it's been a little tough in D.C. lately. Folks, it is so great to look around this room and see how full it is. You know, as I think about my time in the Senate, my proudest moments have been when I've been on the ground with our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. And what makes you so proud is they know what they believe, and they're willing to fight for it, and they're sacrificing for it. They care about others and our future. And just to stand with them and to see the sacrifice they're making and their commitment, it just makes you feel good as an American. It makes me realize the only reason that I can go to Washington and fight in a suit and a tie is because these people are willing to put on a uniform and go fight all over the world, risking their life every day of the week. Those are, but if that's my proudest moment, a close second is when I'm standing here in front of all of you for many of the same reasons. You know what you believe. You're willing to fight for it. You're willing to sacrifice and give your time. As I look around, and this is a great view, and I wish all of you could take a minute just to look at all the county names around our state. And every time I see a name, I think of that group of you who are working and organizing and going to meetings and believing every day that we can make this a better country, that we can make it freer, that we can leave it better than we found it. And it's you that we can really hope for, because you are real. You're not an abstract hope. You're out there fighting for something that really works. And as I go into the next election, it is very reassuring to know that all of you came here today, and that you came here to unite around a common set of principles that we're all going to go out and work across the state for. And not only show the people in this state what we believe and why we believe it, but everyone around the country who's looking at South Carolina and wondering, why do Republicans continue to do well here? And it's because we believe something and we stand for something. You know, last week in the Senate, I was criticized by a lot of people, even some in my own party, after a reporter came up to me and said, "Does Arlen Specter leaving devastate your party?" Now, I like Arlen, but I said I would rather have 30 Republicans who believe in the principles of limited government and free markets and free people than 60 Republicans who have no beliefs at all. Now, the reason I said that is not because I like small numbers. It's because we've had big numbers. We had 55 Republicans in the Senate when I arrived 4 years ago. We had a large majority in the House, and we had a Republican in the White House. But we lost the trust of the American people because we didn't do those things that we said we believed in. And if I have anything to do with it, we're not going to do that again. And I know that you agree, because the thing I heard from the time I came in this door to the time I got in my seat this morning was keep fighting. From all of you, keep fighting. And the reason South Carolina is strong is because you hear that we believe something. You know, I've got to give it to Governor Sanford. Probably every governor in the country would have walked into a convention like this and played nice, at least for a few minutes. But he can't, because he believes in something. And he sees a lot at stake here. And it's about principle, it's about doing the things that work, it's about common sense, it's about something that's worth fighting for. And the reporters are here will look at us and say, gosh, these are terrible disagreements within the Republican Party. But we're all standing here under that creed that we recited when we first got here, that says what we believe. And we're standing here under a very big tent, and that center pole is freedom. That center pole makes room for everyone in America. But when people under that tent or any tent decide it's their point of view that they're going to take to Washington, and they're going to use the force of government to force their point of view down every one of the rest of us, they don't fit in the Republican tent. But I know this, going into the next election, that the Democrats have gone to the left of Europe. There is a large gap, and there is a lot of room under that tent of freedom for people who have very diverse views. But we're united by those principles that go under that tent of freedom, of limited government, of personal responsibility, of free markets, of faith and family. All of those things are at stake today. All of those things are being undermined by this new administration and the Democrat majority. And all Americans know it if we take that message to them. We see unrest and outrage not only among Republicans, but among independents and many Democrats. This is a time where there is a bright line between where the Democrats are going and where we are. And our tent is not small. It is big enough for every American who believes in those freedoms that made this country exceptional and made us prosperous and made us good. And that's what we're here fighting for. We're not trying to limit our numbers. We're trying to reach out to every American and remind them why we're great as a nation and why the Republican Party is carrying that banner of freedom. What we're doing here today is fighting for the very essence of who we are as a country. And I'm honored to serve with people like Governor Sanford and Lindsey Graham. And folks, even more than them, they have no power at all, no influence at all without you. Without you taking the message that we've got here today, that we're coming together to unite around and taking it out to all corners of South Carolina. But when you do, and when we speak clearly and forcefully about those things that we believe, that those things we're committed to, that I can guarantee you that not only a majority of South Carolinians, but a large majority of South Carolinians of all races, of all creeds, Republican, independents, those old Reagan Democrats, they're ours if we go out and tell them the truth. And I appreciate... I can't thank you enough. When I leave Washington every week, I am drained because I feel like I'm fighting against the tide. But when I come home to South Carolina, I realize there's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with them. I want to leave you with this. Next week, I'm the starter at the Coca-Cola 600. And I just got to practice it one time, and this goes for what we're getting ready to do when you leave the convention today. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.